ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतान् शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। Om. Dear friends, we are in the very first shloka of the 9th chapter, 9th adhyaya. The first shloka I read and explained fairly, in detail, and then we are in the first line of this bhashyam. The shloka is idam tu te guhyatamam pravakshyam yanasuyave jnanam vijnana sahitam yad jnatva mokshase ashubhat. I explained that shloka in detail. Let us read the bhashyam. We are in this line, idam brahmajnanam vaksyamanam uktam cha purveshu adhyayeshu tad buddhau sannidhikrutya idamaha. So this brahmajnana which has been told in the earlier chapters, keeping that in mind, so the Lord Krishna is saying, I am telling you this, this Raja Vidya, that is the king among all learnings, the king of all learnings, and then the king of all treasures. Guhyam is something which is a treasure. Guhayam sthitam is guhyam. Guhyam, it can also mean a highly secret, a great secret. Not that a secret which has to be preserved from everybody and then you have to keep it yourself, but it has to be protected in that manner. It has to be protected, it has to be preserved in that sense. More in the sense that it has to be preserved well. Unless it is preserved, then your own, the basic thing is Brahma Vidya is something which has to, that is the core of Vedas, isn't it? If you don't preserve that core of the Veda, and then if you keep on doing some rituals and all that, then the core itself is forgotten and all those peripheral issues only will be taken as your doctrine. So your basic doctrine is this Raja Vidya. So that is something which is something like a treasure which is there in the cave, and it is so guhyam, and so it has to be protected, gopaniyam, it has to be protected. So that is what he has been saying. So tad buddhau sannidhi krutya idam ityaha. So idam refers to that Brahma Jnanam. So let us read the next line. Tu shabdaha vishesha nirdharanarthaha idameva samyajnanam sakshan moksha prapti sadhanam vasudeva sarvamiti atmaivedam sarvam ekameva advitiyam ityadi shruti smrutibhyaha nanyat. Okay. So idam tu guhyatamam. So tu shabdaha vishesha nirdharanarthaha. Tu shabda, the word tu here is saying that something special is being told. Vishesha nirdharanam, something specific, something exclusive is being told in this thing. Then what is this thing? Idameva samyajnanam sakshat moksha sadhanam. So we know that jnanam is the only thing which leads to moksha. All other things, all activities are called karma only. There are only two paths in yoga which we have seen in Gita. That is, all other things like karma yoga, dhyana yoga, bhakti, all upasana, all these things fall under the category of karma, because kriyate iti karma, that is which is performed by a human being. All those things which are performed by the human beings, they have limited result only. You do some yajna, somebody will do a greater yajna. Some king will come and then he will do the greatest possible yajna, that is the Ashwamedha. So like that is a karma. So you get some result, and then some other bigger fellow will get a bigger result, and then the quick king, by virtue of doing some Ashwamedha or something, he will get a higher result. But then that has got a limitation. It has got a tenure. You will go and stay in heaven for a few days. Another man may go and stay for a few months. So this man may be there in that Brahmaloka and then for some time, and then he will return. So that is the effect of karma. Then what about yoga, dhyana yoga? Dhyana yoga again is a upasana. Then again bhakti, karma yoga again, it will only see that the result of action in this present life will not come. But what about the actions done in previous lives? So in the previous lives also, if you have done some karma yoga, and then if it is totally karmakshaya, naturally then you are eligible for the next step, that is jnana. So we have seen in all the earlier chapters that Jnanam is the only way for moksha. There is no other way. So you may go through the path of Upasana, you may go in that Devayana path, and still you will have to stay there, wait there for a long time, where that wisdom will dawn, the Jnanam will dawn on you. So that is what we have seen, isn't it? So Jnanam Sakshan Moksha Prapti Sadhanam. So bhakti may be moksha prapti sadhanam, upasana may be moksha prapti sadhanam, but not sakshan moksha prapti. This word sakshat also has to be noted. It may be krama mukti sadhanam or paramparaya moksha sadhanam, but not sakshat moksha sadhanam. So idameva samyak jnanam sakshat moksha prapti sadhanam. Then he is giving some lines from Upanishad and also from the shloka, from the Gita earlier. Vasudeva sarvamiti. So Vasudeva Sarvamiti is in the previous, the 7th Adhyaya, 19th Shloka, Vasudeva Sarvamiti. The one who knows that Vasudeva is what is the wholes, whatever we see is nothing but Vasudeva. Vasudeva Sarvamiti means Sarvam, what all we see. What is it that we see? Jiva, Jagat, and at the divine level Ishvara, that empirical God, isn't it? We see only these three things. This is a sort of triangle, Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara, isn't it? And what we are talking about is something beyond this triangle, isn't it? This Brahma is something which is beyond this Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara. So then Jiva, Jagat, Ishvara, all these three things come under this Drushya Koti. Drushya Koti means the category of Drushya. All things which can be seen, things which can be observed, things which can be known either by senses or by buddhi. All the physical world is known by the senses. Buddhi grahya is Ishvara. Ishvara is buddhi grahya, isn't it? So that is why, so all these things are, they come under this Drushya Koti only. So Sarvam refers to this whole Drushya Koti. Idam Sarvam Vasudeva Eva. There is nothing apart from Brahman. That Vasudeva is, we are not referring to Krishna, we are referring to the Supreme Brahman. So this Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Then he is referring to these two lines from Chandogya Upanishad. Atmai Vedam Sarvam Ekameva Advitiyam. Idam Sarvam Atma Eva. This whole thing is Atma only. Atma is something which is Brahma. Atma is not different from Brahman. Because Chaitanyam, there cannot be division. So that is where when you say Atma and Brahma are one and the same, one basic thing we have to remember is Atma is Chaitanyam and Brahman is Chaitanyam. There cannot be divisions in the Chaitanyam, and the example given is Akasha. Akasha, you take a part and then you say this Gata Akasha, and then you take a room and then you call it Gruha Akasha or Matha Akasha, whatever you say, and then Maha Akasha is there much beyond. So like that, the consciousness, it looks as though delimited by this upadhi called body-mind complex, and it is not, the consciousness is not different, it is not divisible. We follow that. So that is why, that is the one thing which you have to see. Atma Vedam Sarma, when you say that Atma is not different from Brahma, the basic thing we have to see is that Atma is consciousness and Brahman is consciousness. These two are indistinguishable. Then Ekameva Advitiyam. Advitiyam means non-dual. There is only one. This is again we have to see, it is different from monism or monotheism. What is monotheism? That is saying that there is only one God. Monotheism, you must be knowing that word. Monism or monotheism is to say that there is only one God. What is the difference between monotheism and non-dualism? Monotheism says there is one God who is there up above in the sky, who is all powerful, who is controlling all of us, and then he is the man who is like a super cop sitting in the sky, and then he is the man who protects his believers, and then he will hurl stones, and then he will destroy all his non-believers. So that is the monotheism, isn't it? That is what religions say. Of course, not our religion, other religions they say. But monotheism is different from, monotheism and monism are one and the same. Monotheism is different from non-dualism. Non-dualism is, there is only one. There is no such thing as God elsewhere, there is no such thing as me elsewhere, there is no such thing as Jagat elsewhere. All this thing is only one, and one only is appearing as many. So that is our Siddhanta in Vedanta. That is in the Upanishads, the basic postulation is that there is only one Brahman, there is only one supreme reality which is existing which is appearing, not which is of the nature of existence, consciousness and happiness. Sat, Chit and Ananda, existence, consciousness, that is intelligence, and happiness. These three things are manifested in different names and forms, that is Nama and Rupa, isn't it? So these different Nama Rupas, they keep on changing. So that is why this Jagat, Gacchati iti Jagat, it is always in a state of flux, it is always in a state of movement, it is always in a state of change. Whereas this existence, intelligence and happiness, these are the things which are the divine attributes, which are the Asti Bhati Priyam. They are the attributes of Brahman. Whereas the Nama, Rupa, they are the attributes of what all we see, isn't it? Even starting from Hiranyagarbha, Brahma, the Stambha Paryantam, these are all Nama, Rupa, isn't it? So that is why Atma Ekameva Advitiyam. So our postulation means the postulation in the Upanishads is that there is only one non-dual Brahman and nothing else. So that is it. Ekameva Advitiyam. Ityadi Shruti Smrutibhyaha na Anyat. So it is not something else. This Brahmajnanam alone is the tool or sadhana for Sakshat Moksha sadhana. Then another sloka, another quotation from the same Upanishad. Atha ye anyathato viduhu anyarajanaha te kshayyaloka bhavanti ityadi shrutibhyascha. So this line says atha ye. Atha means then, thereafter. Atha ye anyatha ataha viduhu. Ataha anyatha viduhu. Those who think differently, those who think different from this. Ataha anyatha viduhu. Ataha means from this, anyatha means differently, and then viduhu means they know or think. Those who think different from this, who are they? Anya Rajanaha. So that means they think of somebody. Raja does not refer to king here. Anya Rajanaha is he is referring to a particular deity, a particular god form. There is a particular god form which is Anyat from me, which is Anya Rajanaha, which is something different from me. So atha ye anyathato viduhu anya rajanaha. Anya rajanaha means those who worship different deities as different from themselves. Any deity, take any deity, it may be some say deity from India, deity from Israel, deity from some Arabia, or any deity. If you think that that deity is apart from you, te kshayyaloka bhavanti. Te, those people, kshayyaloka bhavanti. Kshayyaloka means whatever they attain is something which is time bound. Kshayyaloka means it is not referring to lokaha, it is a bahurihi samasa. Kshayyaloka means the lokas which they attain are perishing in nature. That means they are time bound. You are visualizing some god who himself is a delimited form, because that god is something different from the world, god is something different from you. He may be a very powerful man, but still he is a delimited person. So, from the point of view of the definition of the Supreme Brahman which we have visualized, that is Supreme Brahman is much above this empirical God, this whatever temporary God you visualize also is something, whatever he gives or whatever lokas they attain, they are also Chayishnu in nature. Chayishnu means perishing, or they have a time, they have got a time limitation, they are limited by time. So, te Kshayyalokaha bhavanti. This Kshayyaloka is a word which is called Bahurihi Samasa. Kshayyaloka, it is not referring to lokaha, it is referring to the people who attain those lokas which are delimited or time bound or limited by time. Then let me see, what is this? Okay, te Kshayyalokaha bhavanti. Then ityadi shrutibhyascha. This shruti also is the Chandogya Upanishad, 7th Adhyaya. Then te tubhyam guhyatamam gopyatamam pravakshyami kathaishyami anasuyave asuyarahitaya. So te, I am going to tell you, te means to you, tubhyam, guhyatamam, gopyatamam. The treasure which has to be highly protected, very greatly well protected. Pravakshyami, I am going to explain to you in detail. Anasuyave, you are a person who is not having asuya. So I told you yesterday, the teacher has to now and then compliment the student. So that is why he says anasuyave. Asuya is something I told yesterday, that is guneshu doshavishkaranam asuya. Where there are no faults, you are trying to detect some fault, you are trying to detect some defect. So that is called jealousy. In English we call it jealousy. In English literature they call it the green-eyed monster. Jealousy is supposed to be a green-eyed monster. According to some Western mythology, I do not know, the green-eyed monster jealousy that doth mock the meat it feeds on. It is some line from somewhere from Shakespeare. The green-eyed monster jealousy, which mocks the meat it feeds on. So that is what it says. That means if you are green-eyed, everything else looks green to you. If you have clear eyes, you will see things clearly. But if you are green-eyed, everything else looks green to you. So you are trying to look for defects. So things look defective to you. So that is why jealousy is called a green-eyed monster. So like that, asuya rahitaya. You are a person not like that. You are a shraddhalu. You are a person having that shraddha. So that is why I am going to tell you fully. Then kim tat jnanam.
Kim tat jnanam.
Kim visishtam.
Kim visishtam.
Vijnana sahitam anubhava yuktam.
Vijnana sahitam anubhava yuktam.
So what is that jnanam and what is the speciality? Kim visishtam means what is the speciality? What is the exclusiveness of it? Then vijnana sahitam, that is anubhava yuktam. In the last class I was also telling you what is the jnanam and vijnanam. We had a fairly big discussion. I was referring to that avrutti adhikaranam of Brahma Sutras. Brahma Sutras, that is 4-1-1. That sutra is avruttihi asakrut upadeshat. Asakrut means several times. Asakrut upadeshat means several times it has been told Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi, Tattvamasi. So one man, somebody like Vasishtha Vamadeva, some brilliant man, somebody who because of the effect of his cumulative effect of his good deeds, past good deeds, he may realize. If he just listens to the Shruti once, he may realize. But all of us, that Brahmakara Vritti may come and go, may just come and go. You may get some Brahmakara Vritti, a fleeting Brahmakara Vritti. So the Jnani's Lakshanam is, it is not as though that Brahmakara Vritti just comes and goes. For a minute you feel that you are a Brahma, and then immediately you see your servant or you see somebody else, and then you become angry. So that is not that Brahma, that is not stability in that Brahmakara Vritti. Once that Brahmakara Vritti, that Brahma Jnanam is there, the indication is you remain as that pure consciousness alone. Even that Vritti disappears. That Vritti also is supposed to disappear. Vritti has done its job and it has to disappear, and then you remain as clear awareness, pure awareness. You may be interacting with people, but you are interacting as pure awareness only, as a Sakshi only. As a Sakshi, and then you are of course doing your job. Whatever job is there, whatever dharma is there, it does not mean that you will indulge in adharma. A jnani will never indulge in adharma. If he indulges in adharma or some selfish action, it is something which is a criminal activity, where his ego has definitely entered. Somebody indulges in a criminal activity only when an ego is there. A jnani cannot indulge by definition, he cannot indulge in a selfish activity. A jnani, by definition, he has compassion for all, a sort of motiveless compassion for all, a sort of agenda-less compassion for all. So that is what we discussed in the last class also. So this vijnanam is characterized by that state. Characterized means the person who is a jnani, he is in that particular state. He shows love and compassion to everybody. He doesn't discriminate because he has gone beyond Ativarna Ashrami, that is, he has gone beyond this Varna, Ashrama, religion, everything. Everybody is okay for him, everything is acceptable for him. So that is it. Then, Yat Jnanam Jnatva Prapya Mokshyase Ashubhat Samsara Bandhanat. So what is the effect of this, what is the result of this Jnanam? The result of the Jnanam is, you are freed from the bondage. That means all these bondages are there in the mind only. So once you have this jnana, all the bondages, those knots which are there in the mind, all those knots, they get thrashed, they get thrashed, all those knots are cut off, and then you are freed from all those bandhanas. So that is it, and you are a free man. You are a free man, you will be doing all those things, but without a bondage, without a bandhanam. Then tacha stauti.
Tacha stauti.
Stauti, that particular jnanam is tat cha, that particular jnanam is being praised. Let us read the shloka. Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam
Raja Vidya Raja Guhyam
Pavitramidamuttamam
Pavitramidamuttamam
Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam
Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam
Susukham Kartum Avyayam.
Susukham Kartum Avyayam.
So this Raja Vidya and Raja Guhyam I explained say so far. That is the king among learnings and the king among treasures. And then Pavitram. Pavitra is something which purifies you. How is this jnanam purifying you? Because jnanam is something which will destroy all your sanchita karma also. In this janma you may do karma yoga. And then in this janma there is no phalabhisandhi, so you are not acquiring the good or bad result. But all the previous baggage is there. So that is what is called sanchita karma. Sanchi in Telugu we call it a bag. So sanchita is something which is there, baggage, the baggage of the karma, whole karma, that also gets destroyed, because a jnani is somebody who is not bound by the past karma or the future karma. So that is it. So that is how it is going to be pavitra. Pavitram idam uttamam. Uttamam means that is something which is great, something which is praiseworthy. Pavitram idam uttamam. Then Pratyakshaavagamam Dharmyam. Pratyakshaavagamam. So this is something which can be directly felt. So here we have to see this word Pratyaksha, because the commentators also have clearly said, Nilakantha and also Madhusudana Saraswati. Nilakantacharya writes, Pratyakshaavagamam, Pratyaksham Nitya Aparoksham Yat Pratyagatma Vastu. So for the word Pratyaksha, we have to take the meaning as Aparoksha. So this Pratyaksha, Paroksha and Aparoksha, these words we have come across earlier. Pratyaksha is Prati plus Aksham, is Pratyaksham. Aksham Prati, that is that which can be perceived by the senses. Aksha is Indriya. Indriya is sense. Aksham Prati is Pratyaksham, that which can be perceived by the senses is Pratyaksham. Then Paroksha is something which is not in front of us, but which you trust or you believe by virtue of by reading this Upanishad or some such text. That is, there is something called heaven, there is something called say Maharloka, there is something called Janaloka, there is something called Tapoloka, there is something called Satyaloka. All these Satyadi, these 7 lokas we talk about. So this is something which we have not seen, but which you believe. This is something which is paroksha. It is not directly known. So that is paroksha. Then is another thing called aparoksha. Aparoksha is that which is called sakshi bhasyam. This word also you can note down if you want. Aparoksha is called sakshi bhasyam. So we have also come across the word sakshi, sakshi chaitanyam. Sakshi chaitanyam, which is there. It is not associated with the intellect, but it is influencing that intellect. It is there influencing the intellect, that is called Sakshi Chaitanyam. This associated Chaitanyam is called Avachinna Chaitanyam. Then Sakshi Chaitanyam is called Upahita Chaitanyam. That Chaitanyam which is having this Antahkarana as an Upadhi, and then it is illuminating that Upadhi, is that Sakshi Chaitanyam, isn't it? So your Antahkarana is something which is there, which is having this Sukha, Dukkha and all these experiences. Sukha, Dukkha, all these experiences, they are supposed to be Sakshi Bhasyas. They are supposed to be known to this Sakshi. So like that, like this Sukha and Dukkha, this Brahman is something which is called Sakshi Bhasyam, Aparoksham, Aparokshanubhuti. That is why we say Aparokshanubhuti. That is, you just stay in the form of consciousness only. So that is what is, there is no feeling like I am Brahman or something like that. That Brahmakara Vritti also disappears. I am a Jnani, that Vritti also disappears. He stays as pure consciousness. So that is what is called Aparoksha Jnanam. So that is how we have to interpret this line. Madhusudana Saraswati also, he says the same thing. Pratyakshavagamo manavasminniti. So he writes Phalataha Sakshi Pratyakshatvam. That which is known by the Sakshi, that is Sakshi Pratyakshatvam, means you are experiencing it as a Sakshi only, or you are remaining as Sakshi only. So that is it. Like Sakshi is able to see Sukham, Dukkham, you are in that state only as Sakshi. So that is what is called Aparoksham. So Pratyaksham, this word Pratyaksha, we have to take it as Sakshi Pratyaksham, Sakshi Pratyaksham or Sakshi Bhasyam. Then Pratyaksha Dharmyam. Pratyaksha Avagamam means that which can be known. Avagati is understanding. Pratyaksha means that which can be directly understood, that which can be directly known. Avagamam. Then Dharmyam means that which is in accordance with the Dharma is called Dharmyam. Dharmat Anapetam, that which is not beyond Dharma, that which is supported by Dharma is called Dharmyam. Then Susukham Kartum Avyayam. Susukham, it is also very easy, it is not very difficult. Susukham. Then how it is Susukham, he is going to explain, because it is presented in such a highly palatable way, a very nice way. Oh, it is so easy. But then he is going to explain what it is. Susukham Kartum. Then Avyayam. Avyayam means something which does not perish. Because anything which comes easily will go easily, isn't it? So when the earlier word says Susukham, then it has come so easily, it may go away so easily. So you should not have any doubt that it will go away easily. So that is why he says Susukham Kartum. But then Avyayam, it will not go away. Once it is realized, it is there. Once that realization happens, it is there. So that is it. Then let us read the Bhashya. Is the shloka clear?
Yes.
Shloka is fairly simple.
Yeah.
Then Raja Vidya iti. Raja Vidya Vidyanam Raja.
Rajavidya Vidyanam Raja.
Deeptyatishayatvat. Deepyatehi iyam. Atishayena. Brahma Vidya Sarva Vidyanam. So this Vidyanam Raja, why is it called Deepti Atishayatvat? Deepti Atishayatvat. Deepti means brilliance. Deepti is actually shining, brilliance. Deepti Atishayatvat. Because there is nothing more brilliant, there is nothing beyond this. This brilliance also we should take it as in the sense of that which is illuminating everything. That is in that sense also, in that sense only we have to take. Deepti does not mean something which is something like a star or something like a sun which is shining. Not in that physical sense of brilliance, in the sense that this is what is enabling everything else to see. This is what is enabling everything else to cognize. So this is what is the illuminer of all. That is what we have seen. That is what Jyoti, Kim Jyotihi. In that Kathopanishad also we saw that Atma Jyoti is the only Jyoti. So this is what is the illuminator of all. So that is what is the meaning. So Deepti Atishayena. Deepyatehi iyam Atishayena. So this is what is brilliant. The Atishayena Deepyate. This is something which is shining brilliantly. So that is why this Brahma Vidya is supposed to be a Raja, Sarva Vidyanam Raja. In comparison with all the Vidyas, this is the king of all Vidyas. Then Tatha Raja Guhyam, Guhyanam Raja. This also we explained. Then Pavitram, Pavanam, Idam Uttamam, Sarvesham Pavananam, Shuddhikaranamidam, Brahmajnanam, Utkrishtatamam. So this is Pavanam, Pavitram. Pavitra and Pavana are from the same root. Pava is, that is pure. In English we call it pure. This pure and Pava, they are very cognate, they are so linked. So Pavitram, Pavanam, Pavitram. Pavana, you refer to water, you refer to fire, you refer to wind. So all these things are supposed to be Pavitra, that these which are which purify. Suppose there is bad odor somewhere, then the breeze comes and then this bad odor goes away. Similarly, something is there and then you wash it off, it will go away. Then fire, you heat it and then all that bad things go away. So like that, this fire is called Pavanam, that is purifier. Water is a purifier, and again air is a purifier. So here we are referring to this Vidya, which is the greatest purifier of all, because it purifies the Antahkarana. Because the very process of this Vidya involves a lot of self-discipline, isn't it? Chitta Shuddhi is the prerequisite. And this Chitta Shuddhi is attained over a period of time by doing all various things like Yajna, Dana, then not only that, the Karma Yoga, Dhyana Yoga, all these things, they are all the sadhanas which lead to a Chitta Shuddhi. And then thereafter this Jnanam. So which means that Jnanam is something which is Pavitram, which basically purifies a person. Idam Uttamam Sarvesham Pavananam. Sarvesham Pavananam Idam Pavitram. So when compared to all other purifiers, this is the greatest purifier. Don't think of any scent or anything. So this Sarvesham Pavananam Idam Uttamam. Then Shuddhikaranam Idam Brahmajnanam. This Shuddhikaranam, this is Chitta Shuddhi. This is the Karanam, this is the cause for Chitta Shuddhi. Shuddhi means you are referring to Chitta Shuddhi only and not to body Shuddhi. So Chitta Shuddhi Karanam. Then Brahmajnanam Utkrishtatamam. Utkrushta means highest, greatest. Utkrishta is that which is highest, that which is greatest. Utkrishta tamam. Tama is superlative degree. Tara and Tama. Utkrishta taram is Utkrishtam is positive degree. Utkrishta taram is comparative degree. Utkrishta tamam is superlative degree. Then Aneka Janma Sahasra Sanchitamapi.
Aneka Janma Sahasra Sanchitamapi.
Dharma Dharmadi Samulam Karma.
Dharma Dharmadi Samulam Karma.
Kshanamatrad Bhasmi Karoti Yataha.
Kshanamatrad Bhasmi Karoti Yataha.
Ataha Kim Tasya Pavanatvam Vaktavyam.
Kim Tasya Pavanatvam Vaktavyam.
Kim Tasya Pavanatvam Vaktavyam means what to talk of the greatness of this, what to talk of the purifying nature of this Brahmajnanam, because Aneka Janma Sahasra Sanchitamapi. And this Aneka Janma Sahasram, because we are in this eternal cycle of samsara. Samsara itself is supposed to be, say, relatively Sanatanam. Yeshoshvattas Sanatanaha, we read in Kathopanishad. Urdhva Mulova Yeshoshvattas Sanatanaha. This Sanatana. Sanatana means not Sanatana like Supreme Brahman. This is having a sort of relative Sanatanatvam or relative permanence. That is something like a Pravaha Nityatvam. It is changing, but it is there forever, like a flow of a stream, like a flow of a river, perennial river, let us say. So like the flow of a perennial river, it is there. It is Sanatanam. So like that, here, Aneka Janma Sahasra Sanchitam. This Aneka Janma Sahasra, that is thousands and thousands of births and deaths have taken place in this wheel of samsara. So, which means that in so many Sahasra Janmas also, this man has not, this person, let us say, this person has not got over his feeling of Parichinnata. So he is still clinging on to his body-mind complex, identity with the body-mind. So he is still craving for a body and he is still assuming a body. So that is what we have to see here. Sahasra Sanchitamapi. Then Dharma Dharmadi Samulam Karma. This Samulam Karma. Dharma Dharmadi. This karma is of two natures, but one is Dharma and one is Adharma. The good and bad. So these two things, Samulam Nirvartayati. Samulam means along with the root. Moolam is root. Samulam Ksanamatram. What is the root of this avidya, root of this karma? This is avidya, ajnanam. Ajnanam is basically the root. So once that ajnanam is plucked out, then this the samsara tree also dies out, isn't it? The moola, the root of that ajnana, of that tree is basically ajnana. So that root has to be say removed. So it has to be uprooted. Then samulam karma kshanamatrad bhasmi karoti yataha. In a flash, it will turn it into ashes. Then kim tasya pavanatvam vaktavyam. Kincha pratyakshaavagamam pratyakshena sukhaderiva avagamaha yasya tat pratyakshaavagamam. So Shankaracharya has not specifically used that word Sakshi Bhasya, but he has implied it when he said Sukhadehe iva pratyakshena avagamaha. Sukhadehe iva. Like Sukha, Dukkha, etc. are understood by you in a direct way. Direct way means not pratyaksha but in a aparoksha way. Like this Sakshi Bhasya, in that process, this is also to be known. So though he has not directly used that word Sakshi Bhasya, it is very clearly implied here by the word Sukhadehe iva avagamaha, because Sukha etc. are Sakshi Bhasyas. So like that, it is known. So pratyakshena sukhadeha iva avagamah yasya tat pratyakshaavagamam. So that which is known in that manner. Then aneka gunavatopi
अनेक गुणवतोपि
dharma viruddhatvam drushtam
धर्म विरुद्धत्वं दृष्टं
na tatha atmajnanam
न तथा आत्मज्ञानं
dharma virodhi
धर्म विरोधी
किंतु धर्म्यम धर्माद अनपेतम.
किंतु धर्मं धर्मादपे अनपेतम्.
Okay, he gives some explanation for this dharmyam. There may be certain activity, there may be some yajna, there may be something else which is associated, which is having lot many good characteristics, but somewhere some negative thing will be there. The very fact that it is all delimited itself is a negative thing. It is all limited, time bound, etc. That itself is a negative factor. So aneka gunavatopi dharma viruddhatvam aneka gunavatopi dharma viruddhatvam drushtam. Aneka gunavataha api means even in a thing which is having so many good gunas. Gunavan is the word. Gunavataha is Shashti Ekavachanam. Here what is used here is Aneka Gunavan is one who is having lot many good qualities. Aneka Gunavataha is even for that who is having so many good qualities. So it is a Shashti Ekavachanam which is used here. Aneka Gunavataha api, even in such a case, Dharma Viruddhatvam Drushtam. Sometimes you can see something which is not in accordance with Dharma, something which is harmful to maybe somebody, something which is defective, it is not completely 100% pure, maybe 99% pure, so something like that. Na tatha atmajnanam dharma virodhi. This atmajnanam, na tatha dharma virodhi. This atmajnanam is something which is not dharma virodhi, means which is totally in accordance with dharma. As we just discussed, a jnani cannot go beyond, by definition a jnani cannot go beyond dharma. In English there are words like enlightened criminality. For example, an enlightened person. So an enlightened person, he does some criminality. So a person who knows that say all this say world is a mithya and things like that. So theoretically, intellectually, at an intellectual level, suppose he thinks, oh, okay, all this world is a mithya, there is nothing, I can indulge in any criminal action, etc., etc. He is not a jnani. Because his ego has entered there. His ego has very much entered there, and then he feels that he is not bound by any morality. When Upanishad says that you go beyond dharma and adharma, it does not mean that a jnani can commit an adharma act. It only means that a jnani, he has reached such a stage where he can never commit any adharma. Whereas a person who only understands Vedanta at a very, very intellectual level can become a criminal also. So that is why our people traditionally we have been saying that this Vedanta has to be told to somebody who is already well disciplined. The very reason why they told about discipline is that it has to be told to somebody who is a well disciplined man, and then who knows, who understands dharma in all its aspects. Only such a man will be able to protect this. Otherwise an enlightened criminal, he may be a harmful fellow. These are all the Rakshasas, isn't it? Because if you read Bhagavatam is a very interesting, there are some interesting passages here and there. All these Rakshasas also, they talk a lot of high philosophy. Where there is a demon called Hiranyaksha. Hiranyaksha and Hiranyakashipu are two brothers. So in that seventh skandha, where this Hiranyakashipu Prahlada story is there, that Hiranyaksha has been killed by Srihari. So then Hiranyakashipu comes and then he consoles his sister-in-law, his brother's wife, he consoles, and then he says all this. And at that time, if you see this Hiranyakashipu's thing, he talks high philosophy which is there in this Upanishad only. He is not talking anything beyond that. If you remove that name Hiranyakashipu and then you put somebody else's, some guru's name, you will think that it is all high philosophy. So like that, all these people, they know theoretically, but then unfortunately a lot of ego has entered into their mind frame, mental frame, and then they indulge in all these evil deeds. So that is how this enlightened criminality is not what is contemplated in Vedanta. This is enlightened performance of dharma, enlightened performance of social good only is contemplated here. So that is why it is called dharmyam. It is in accordance with dharma. Dharmat anapetam. Anapetam means na apetam. Apetam means that which is moving away. Apetam is that which has moved away. Anapetam means that which has not moved away. Apa, ita. In gatau, root is in gatau, gati, gati dhatu, gatyarthakam. Gati means movement. Apa plus ita, apeta. Apetam is that which has moved away. Apa is away. Na plus apetam is anapetam. That which has not moved away, that which has not moved an inch away from dharma is called dharmyam. So that is the meaning of dharmyam. Then evamapi syat
एवमपि स्यात्
dussampadhyatvam ityata aha.
दुस्सम्पाद्यम् इच्छता आह.
So somebody may think that okay, when you say so many things, it may be dussampadhyam. Dussampadhyam means dukkhena sampadhyam. It is very difficult to attain. Somebody may think that it is rather difficult to attain. Why make efforts also? Why make so many efforts? Why go to a guru, do some bhajana and then do this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam and all that? Who can do? I can as well go to a temple, do some bhakti, do some bhajana, and then get some punyam. So somebody may think like that. So that is why he says, no, it is not like that. Susukham kartum
सुसुखं कर्तुं
yatha
यथा
ratna viveka vijnanam
रत्नविवेकविज्ञानं
tatra alpayasanam karmanam
तत्र अल्पायासानां कर्मणां
sukha sampadhyanam alpaphalatvam drushtam
सुखसम्पाद्यानाम् अल्पफलत्वं दुष्टं
dushkaranam cha mahaphalatvam dushtamiti
दुष्कराणां च महाफलत्वं दृष्टमिति
idam tu
इदं तु
sukha sampadhyatvat
सुखसम्पाद्यत्वात्
phalakshayad vyetiti praptam
फलक्षयात् व्येति इति प्राप्तम्
ataha
अतः
avyayam
अव्ययं
na asya phalatah
न अस्य फलतः
karmavat
कर्मवत्
what is this vyayah. Okay, karmavat vyayah asti
कर्मवत् व्ययः अस्ति
avyayam.
अव्ययम्.
Okay, we'll stop here because we have gone into the second point. Susukham. How is it sukham? Sukham means easy. Sukham is actually easy. Susukham, it is easily attainable. How? Yatha ratna viveka vijnanam. Ratna viveka vijnanam. The commentary, of course, they have given example, they have given some explanation for this. Ratna parishaka. Ratna parishaka means the examiner of diamonds, say, let us say. Nowadays you have got this gemology and all these things. Even in olden days also, the gemology, not in this name, in some other form, this gemology was very much there in India because all India was supposed to be one of the richest countries in olden days. And then all our kings and all these chaps, they had so much of treasures. So Ratna Parishaka was an important official in the court of a king. Ratna Parishaka is like you go to a bank and then you pledge your gold. There is an examiner there. There is an examiner who examines your gold and then puts it on some test, and then he says, yeah, this is so many carat gold, this is so many carat gold, etc., etc. He says. So similarly, when you take some say precious diamond or something like that, precious stone, and that precious stone you present to somebody and say this is a diamond, then that man, this parikshaka, Ratna Parikshaka, he should be able to say whether it is a diamond or a jade or whether whatever it is. So he should be able to say and evaluate it correctly. So that is something, it is not associated with any great pain. Only thing is that discrimination. Over a period of time, you should have attained the discrimination. There is no ayasa. You need not call 100 Ritviks and then perform some yajna. You need not do something else, some other, Laksha Vattula Vratam and things like that. You need not have all this Laksha, 1 lakh lights and all these things. So this is simply, it is a question of exercising your mind. It is a question of doing some viveka, nitya nitya vastu viveka. And then it is basically a question of thinking about what is right and what is wrong. It is a question of examining what you are and then arriving at what should be your interaction, what should be your reaction to a particular thing. It is as simple as that. So that is why this, Lord Krishna is patting us on the back, saying that don't be disheartened. This is something which is easy. It is easy. What all you have to do is some discrimination. You need not spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees and do some yajna or indulge in something. You do some other thing. You only do this like this Ratna Viveka Vijnanam. This Viveka is the word which is important here. Ratna Viveka, you see, Viveka. What is that Viveka? Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka. This Ratna Viveka is, Ratnam is Brahma Jnanam here. This Brahma, rather, So that viveka has to be done here. Viveka is discrimination. That is removing the chaff from the grain. Keep the grain and remove the chaff. So that is the thing. Ratna viveka vijnanam. Tatra,
We read it.
we read it. Tatra, then next, we have come to the next point. Tatra, alpayasanam karmanam sukha sampadyanam alpaphalatvam drushtam. Then again one question will come. When it is so easily attainable, it may go away also. Alpayasanam karmanam, in all those activities where there is alpayasa means very little effort. Then Sukha sampadyanam, for those which are attained so easily, alpa phalatvam drushtam. Alpa phalatvam is even the result also is limited. You just study for about 4 or 5 days and go to an examination and you will get only 40 marks. If you read, if you complete the syllabus, you may get 90 marks. So like that, alpayasa, alpa phalam. Greater ayasa, you will get greater phalam. Ayasa means effort. So here you see this word alpayasanam karmanam. So you are talking about karma, whereas you can't compare this karma with this viveka. Viveka is not a karma. Viveka is discrimination. It is not a karma like say yajna, dana, tapas and all these. Yajna, tapas is different. Tapas is again comes under viveka. It is this viveka is not something a karma like you are doing some yajnam or some other thing or ishta purtam. So it's not like that. So it is something which is associated with basically the mind, which is discriminating intellect. So that is what is we have to see. Then dushkaranam cha karmanam mahaphalatvam drushtam. Dushkaranam karmanam, that is for those activities which are associated with a lot of effort. Then mahaphalatvam drushtam, that is you get a greater result. Idam tu, but on the other hand, this one is sukha sampadyatvat phalakshayad vyeti iti praptam. Then you can draw a conclusion. Iti praptam means this conclusion can be drawn. Iti praptam means this conclusion can be drawn. What? Sukha sampadyatvat alpa phalakshayam. So once you are attaining so easily, phalakshaya also will be there. So this sort of conclusion you may draw. So for that, in order to avoid or obviate that conclusion, he is saying avyayam. It is something na asya phalam vyeti. So this result does not go away. Result does not go. Na asya phalam phalatah karmavat vyayah asti iti avyayam. So karmavat vyayah asti. It is not a karma. So this is the basic point here is this Brahma Jnanam is not a karma. Karma phalam may differ. In the case of karma, you can correlate the effort. The greater the effort, the greater the result, the smaller the effort, the smaller the result. So this result is in direct proportion to the effort which you put in. But in the case of Jnana, it is not like that. Jnana is Viveka. And once that Viveka is attained, there is no need to again go through that mill. Yajna, you may do one yajna today and then again you have to do another yajna tomorrow with equal sincerity, with equal amount of money. But here, once you do that viveka and once you attain, you need not again do all these things afresh. So that is the thing. It is not like a karma. There is a totally different, plane altogether. Karmavat vyayah asti iti avyayam. Ataha shraddheyam atmajnanam. Shraddheyam means that which deserves shraddha. Shraddheyam, shraddheyah or shraddheyam, because atma jnanam is napumsakalinga, that is neuter gender. So the word shraddheyam is used. So shraddheyam means which deserves shraddha. You have to pay attention to this. So that is the meaning. You have to pay attention, don't neglect. This atma jnanam is something which is shraddheyam. That which deserves respect, that which deserves all shraddha. Then next shloka, ashraddhadhana iti.
Ashraddhadhana iti.
Let us read it. Ashraddhadhana purushaha
Ashraddhadhana purushaha
dharmasyasya parantapa
धर्मस्यास्य परन्तप
अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते
अप्राप्य मां निवर्तन्ते
मृत्यु संसार वर्त्मनि.
मृत्युसंसारवर्त्मनि.
So ashraddhadhanaah purushaah. Shraddhadhanaah. Shraddhadhanaah means those who pay attention, those who pay shraddha. Ashraddhadhanaah means those who do not pay attention. So that is it. Those who do not pay shraddha. Shraddha we have discussed earlier several times. Shraddha is Guru Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasah Shraddha. That is, it is not as though you are say simply obeying the command. It is not as though you are simply obeying the command. You are not believe, of course. You are also you are fully convinced about its efficacy. You are fully convinced that this Guru is something who is going to actually tell me the truth. This Shastra is something which is telling me the truth. And then you are giving your consent with your whole being, let us say. You are consenting to it with your whole being. Wholeheartedly you are agreeing. Wholehearted participation is there. So that is what is Shraddha. Your wholehearted consent, you are consenting with a wholehearted being. That is what is called Shraddha. Not merely somebody teaching is Guru is saying and then you have to listen, or some Shastra is saying you have to listen. It's not like that. So Shraddha is more to do with the intrinsic faith, intrinsic willingness. The whole being has to be willing. So that is it. Ashraddhadhanah purushaah dharmasyasya parantapa. Hey parantapa. That is the sambodhana. Parantapa means one who is the vanquisher of his enemies. Asya dharmasya ashraddhadhanah. Asya dharmasya ashraddhadhanah means in this dharma, those who do not pay attention, those who do not pay shraddha, what happens to them? In the next line, aprapya mam nivartante mrityu samsara vartmani. Mam aprapya mrityu samsara vartmani nivartante. That is the anvaya. Mam aprapya mrityu samsara vartmani nivartante. Mam aprapya means having not attained me. Aprapya, having not attained me. Then nivartante, they will return. Where? Mrityu samsara vartmani. This mrityu and samsara. Mrityu means death. Not only death but birth also. Birth and death. This samsara, this transmigration. Vartma. Vartma means the path. Vartma is path. Vartma is Vartmani is in Saptami Vibhakti. They enter this path. They enter into this path, let us say. Because that Saptami Vibhakti, Vartmani. In that path, they do enter. So that is the meaning. This shloka is simple. Let us read the bhashyam. Ye punaha ashraddhadhanaha
ये पुनः अश्रद्धधानाः
श्रद्धा विरहिताः आत्मज्ञानस्य धर्मस्यास्य स्वरूपे तत्फले च नास्तिकाः पापकारिणः असुराणाम् उपनिषदम् देहमात्रात्मदर्शनमेव प्रतिपन्नाः असुतृपः पुरुषाः परन्तप. We'll stop here. Okay. Ye punah ashraddhadhanaah. Ye punah. On the other hand, those ashraddhadhanaah, those who do not pay shraddha, shraddha virahitaah, atmajnanasya dharmasyasya swarupe tatphale cha nastikah. Nastikah means, nastika is one who say it is not there. Nastika, here it is used in a very literal sense, not in the conventional sense. Nastika, the conventional sense is one who does not believe in the authority of Veda is called a Nastika. Nastika, here it is used in the sense that na asti iti yah vadati sa nastikah. It is not there. Whoever says na asti iti yo vadati sa nastikah. In that sense it is, in a very, very literal sense it is used. Nastikah, in what? This Brahmagnya, dharmasyasya swarupaha swarupam tat phalam cha nasti. That swarupam is not there. This dharma, what is this dharma? What is this so-called Brahmagyanam? And what is the phalam? What is this so-called liberation? So they say all this is nonsense, it is not there. So that is what they say. So those people. So dharmasya, asya dharmasya swarupecha tat phalecha nastikaha. So they just say, they say this is not there, this is not there, they say. Then papakarinaha, these people who indulge in all these evil deeds. Then he is giving a slight explanation. Asuranam Upanishadam Dehamatratma Darshanameva Pratipannah. Asuranam Upanishadam. This Upanishad of Asuras, this Upanishad, it is again used in a literal sense, not in the conventional sense of this sacred text. He is using it in a very, very literal sense of Asuranam Upanishadam. Like you say, the Vedas of Rakshasas. Suppose I say, this Vedas are Vedas of Rakshasas. In English we say devil quoting the Bible. So like that, Vedas of Rakshasas. So Vedas of all these demons. So the scriptures of demons, let us say. Asuranam Upanishadam is scriptures of Rakshasas, scriptures of demons. What is that scripture? What does that scripture say? Dehamatra Atmadarshanameva Pratipannah. They say, or they agree with. Pratipannah means they agree with, they consent to what? Dehamatra Atmadarshanameva. They say that this Deham itself is Atma. Apart from this Deha, there is no other Atma. Dehamatra Atmadarshinaha. That is, this Deham alone, this body-mind complex alone, this is Atma. Then what we call intelligence or whatever it is something which is produced only in this mind. So this mind, it is our duty to gratify our senses. As long as you live, happily live. Anunam krutva ghrutam pibet bhasmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kotah. That is a Charvaka. There are certain lines from those Charvaka people. Say what is that? Yavat jivet sukham jivet. As long as you live, live happily. Ranam krutva ghrutam pibet. You take loan and then you have nice food with ghee and all that. You may not repay that loan. Basmi bhutasya dehasya punaragamanam kutah. This body is going to ashes. Where is the question of any return? So that is how they say. So anyway, dehamatra atmadarshanameva pratipannah. Those who only accept this dehamatra atmadarshanam. So those people, asutrupaha. This is again a beautiful coinage. Asutrupaha. Asu. What is the meaning of asura? Asushu ramante iti asuraha. Asu means prana. Prana is just the vital force of the body. Or indriyas also. Asushu ramante, praneshu, indriyeshu ramante iti asuraha. That is, those who revel in sensual pleasures. Those who revel in gratifying their body. Those who revel in strengthening their body or taking pleasure, just indulge in bodily pleasures. Asu trupaha means those who are happy. Trupti. Asu trupti. Truptim prapyante. That is, those who need gratification of the senses, they are called the asu trupaha. Asu trupaha is those who desire. Asu trup is the word. Asu trupaha is plural. Asu trupaha, that is those who revel in the sensual pleasures only. Those people. Purushaha parantapa aprapya mam parameshwaram. Mam parameshwaram aprapya. Having not attained me. Mat praptau naiva ashanka iti.
Mat praptau naiva ashanka iti.
Mat prapti marga sadhana bheda.
Mat prapti marga sadhana bheda.
One second. Mat praptau naiva ashanka iti. Correct. Okay. Aprapya mam parameshwaram. Mat praptau naiva ashanka iti. Okay. Mat prapti marga sadhana bheda.
Mat prapti marga sadhana bheda.
Bhakti matramapi aprapya.
Bhakti matramapi aprapya.
Ityarthaha. Okay. So these people, they don't agree that mat praptau naiva ashanka. That is, they don't realize that there is no need for any doubt in attaining me. There is no need for any doubt that a person who makes effort will attain me. But these people, they don't trust it. They don't believe in that. Mat praptau naiva ashanka. Ashanka means doubt. There is no need for any doubt that anybody will attain me if he or she makes effort. They will certainly attain me. Then, mat prapti marga sadhana bhedam. That is, they suppose, okay, what are the strategies for attaining me? There are so many strategies. That is, karma yoga is there, bhakti is there, then upasana is there. All these things are there. So they may be associated with some little bit of ayasa, some little bit of effort. The least, the most easiest thing, the thing which is, which is involving least effort, or the most easy, the least effort and most easy, let us say. What is that path? Bhakti. You just go and then bhaktya, patram, pushpam, phalam, toyam, whatever you have, you just do them, samarpana to God, and then say, oh Lord, save me. So that is the easiest thing. Even that will save you, he says. Mat prapti marga sadhana bheda bhakti matramapi aprapya. they don't even take it up. Bhakti matramapi aprapya. They don't even take up even that bhakti which is the easiest of all. There are so many paths, there are so many strategies. You choose the easiest path. When there are so many paths, what is it any wise man will do? He will choose the easiest path. The easiest path is bhakti. All other paths are slightly difficult paths. You have to do some yajna, you have to do some other effort, you have to do some other, say, go through this Patanjali yoga marga, you have to stand up the top seat arvi. So all these things, they are there in Patanjali yoga. So all these things you need not do. Simply just do some, slap your cheeks and then you stand in front of the god and then do the samarpana. So that is the bhakti. Even that aprapya, even that they do not take up. What is this sad state of affairs? So that is the mood. That is the mood or tone of Shankaracharya or tone of Lord Krishna. Bhakti matramapi aprapya ityarthaha. Nivartante
निवर्तन्ते
nishchayena avartante.
निश्चयेन आवर्तन्ते.
So nivartate, even for that say prefix Shankaracharya has explained. Ni plus vartante. That is nishchayena avartante. These people, they definitely come back. Then Kva
क्व
मृत्यु संसार वर्तमनि
मृत्यु संसार वर्त्मनि
मृत्यु युक्तः संसारः
मृत्युयुक्तः संसारः
मृत्यु संसारः
मृत्यु संसारः
तस्य वर्त्मा
तस्य वर्त्म
नरक तिर्यगादि प्राप्ति मार्गः
नरक तिर्यगादि प्राप्ति मार्गः
तस्मिन्नेव वर्तन्ते इत्यर्थः.
तस्मिन्नेव वर्तन्ते इत्यर्थः.
So Kva means where do they come back? Mrityu samsara vartmani. For that mrityu yuktah samsarah. That samsara which is associated with mrityu. This samsara is always associated with mrityu and janma. Associated with that. Then what is that? Naraka tiryagadi prapti margaha. In this samsara, you also have swarga, you also have naraka. These are all some small resting places, isn't it? You are always not coming just die and then take birth, just die and take birth. It's not so. Now and then you are going and staying in one nest. All these lokas are like these various nests in this samsara tree. That is what we read in Kathopanishad. Kathopanishad, Urdhvamulo Avak Shakha. Among those shakhas, there are so many small nests, birds' nests, which are all resting places for all these jivas. They go and take rest in Tapoloka for some time, take rest in Swargaloka for some time. So like that, Naraka Tiryagadi Prapti Margaha. So these people, they go and they spend some time in Naraka. Tiryak means Tiryak Jantu. Tiryak means cross. A man is a person who walks straight. All other jantus, the spine is parallel to the ground, isn't it? Man only spine is perpendicular to the ground. All other animals, all these things are called parallel to the ground. That is called Tiryak. Tiryak means crossways. So that is Naraka Tiryagadi. Narakam also is a place where Naraha Kayanti Asminnite Narakaha. Naraka is a place where people cry. Naraha Kayanti. Kaya means cry. Naraha Kayanti. People, they cry here. People, they wail here. People, they weep here. So that is why it is called Naraka. If you see that Amarakosha etymology says people, they cry in this. So that is why it is called Naraka. So you go and cry there for some time and then you enjoy for some time and then you come to this Tiryag Marga for some time. So all these things. Then Tasminneva Vartante Ityarthaha. They are in that path only. You still have time?
No, sir.
Time is up. Okay. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.